This is me on my honeymoon, and you're probably wondering how I got here. It started, as good trips do, in a very nice hotel. This was the last week of our honeymoon, and we were in the beautiful Peschiera del Garda, staying at the Pavilion. I had no idea yet what kind of trip this was going to be. I was just on my honeymoon. All right, what's up, guys? We made it out of Milan, unfortunately, but we're here in Peschiera del Garda, and it has been absolutely enjoying it, camera in hand, limited agenda, just the lake and the light, and making the most of the best trip of my life. Then, Verona, Romeo and Juliet country. We spent an afternoon here, meandering the streets, exploring the town, an exquisite lunch with a family friend, a perfect afternoon, until my body had other plans. I lost consciousness immediately after getting off the train at Peschiera del Garda. There's something clarifying about being unwell in a foreign country. You stop feeling like a tourist pretty quickly. You're just a person now. It strips everything back. It clarifies what matters. When I finally got back on my feet, it was time to go to Venice. Buongiorno from Venezia. We finally made it to the final stop on our tour. Venice is more than a sight to behold. It needs to be experienced, felt, confronted, endured. But if you just stop by for a day, you risk missing the point. We started at the Palazzo Ducale, the Doge's palace. For centuries, the seat of one of the most powerful republics the world has ever known. It was built to make you feel small, and it still does. Every room is a reminder that this wasn't just a city. It was an empire that wrote its own rules. This is Venice showing off. This is the version it wants you to see. Triumphant, eternal, unconquerable. The Basilica di San Marco makes the same argument. We joined a private tour after the church closes to the public. After dark, just a small group of us inside. What you find in there is the triumph of Venice. 1,000 years of gold. The mosaics catch the light in a way no photograph prepares you for. It feels less like a church and more like standing inside a crown. The daytime is Venice performing for you. The night is Venice trusting you with something. And we were beginning to understand there was more than one Venice. There's a small island in the Venetian lagoon that most visitors never visit, San Lazzaro degli Armeni. For 300 years, it has been home to the Mekitsarist monastery, and before that, it was a leper colony. Byron came here in 1816 to study Armenian. He called it the island where he could be of use. I wish I felt the same. The Mekitsarist monks came here as refugees. They brought with them their language, their manuscripts, their literature, everything that might otherwise have been lost. And they preserved it, quietly, stubbornly, on an island, in a lagoon. My wife is Armenian, and we missed the English tour by 2 days, so the entire thing was in Armenian, a language I don't speak. As I stood in a room full of centuries-old Armenian manuscripts, I understood almost nothing, but I kept watching her face, because she understood everything. Some places don't belong to everyone. Some history isn't yours to access just because you showed up. And that's not a failure. That's the point. This island exists to hold something for the people it belongs to, and I was a guest, and I was glad to be there, and I was glad it was still there. And then there's the Venice you've heard of, the daytime one, the one most people mean when they say they've been to Venice. Anthony Bourdain once said that every step we take in Venice is pushing it deeper into the lagoon it cannot escape, the very lagoon that made it the grand city it is. I thought about that line every day I was there, because he wasn't condemning tourists, he was saying something harder than that. He was saying that the thing we love about Venice and the thing that is killing Venice are the same thing. It's us, here, doing exactly this. And I'm not exempt from that. I knew it walking in, and I went anyway. This year, Venice was also hosting the Biennale, the architecture one, and it felt like a direct response to that problem. Hundreds of artists and architects from around the world, building, proposing, imagining. How do we make cities that last? How do we make places worth preserving? How do we build for people who aren't just us right now? Each country brings its own answer, its own interpretation of the question. Some of it is performative. You can't put art in a beautiful palace or warehouse on a sinking island and pretend that that alone is a solution. But some of it felt genuinely urgent. Ideas that could matter if anyone carried them home. Oh, and there were a lot of robots. After dark, they leave. Not all of them, but enough, and the city becomes something else entirely. The streets feel wide suddenly. The water sounds different. You stop performing being a tourist, and you just start being. You can't really get lost. You're on an island, so you let curiosity take over. I kept thinking about what it had taken to get here. The wedding, the honeymoon, the hospital, the stillness of San Marco, standing on San Lazzaro feeling like a benign outsider. And I think all of it was necessary. I don't know if I would have seen this city the same way if the trip had gone the way I planned. Look closely at the buildings here, and you'll see these. Metal rods threaded through the walls and bolted on either side. They're holding the facades together from the inside, keeping them from spreading apart under their own weight and falling into the lagoon. The whole city is like this. It is not surviving gracefully, but it is surviving deliberately, with engineering and stubbornness and an enormous amount of money that the rest of the world debates whether or not to spend. Every year, the tides get higher. Every year, the calculation gets harder. And every year, 17 million people come here to visit and love it and contribute to its disappearance, including me. I went to the Veneto for a vacation. I ended up in a hospital, alone in a basilica, on an island I couldn't fully understand, watching a city hold itself together with iron rods and sheer defiance. I didn't come back with answers. I came back with better questions about how I travel, about what it means to be somewhere rather than just visit it, and about what we owe the places we love. I'll go back, and I'll know exactly what I'm doing when I do.
It rained again. which is great. But you know what that means? Take a look at this. I'm wearing the same shoes with no soles, and the road is very slippery, way worse than Milan. It's like I'm wearing ice skates. I would show you the soles, but I'm pretty sure if I got on one foot, I would fall. But I'm basically I'm soulless. But I'm in Venice, so I can't complain.